asked my daughter on the phone 11 p.m. one Sunday night a few weeks ago. I had no choice. I tried calling her back, but I couldn't reach her. Her phone was off. So I had to call the police. While on the phone with the operator, I kept trying to reach my daughter. I eventually got through to her. She then said to me, "Mommy, the police, they're coming. Where are you?" I kept asking. The operator kept asking, "Where is she? Where are you? Street name, where are you? Mommy, they're coming. We're hiding somebody's garden. We're hiding somebody's garden." And then the phone went off dead again. So I then passed the vague address I got to the operator, and my daughter's phone number, and her friend's mobile number. Then I hung up and had to wait. I eventually got through to my daughter about 5 minutes later. This time she told me, "Mommy, I'm the police car. The police are here right now. I'll speak to you later." Too late again, it went off again. So I relaxed a bit, knowing that she was safe with the police. That night, my daughter spent half the night in the police station and half the night in hospital. Early that evening, she was in a church with a friend of hers when they received a text message from another friend whom I'm going to call Susan. Susan had been abused by her boyfriend. So my daughter and her friend in church text back asking Susan if she wants them to call the police. Susan said no. So they promised to go and see her after service. So after service, they went to see Susan. And after seeing Susan, they were at the bus stop, waiting for a bus to come back home. When the boyfriend who had abused Susan walked up to my daughter and her friend with a baseball bat and asked them, "Which one of you promised to call the police?" That's when I heard my daughter screaming, "Mommy, call the police." She had to run for her life. My daughter was shaking for 3 days. She couldn't go out for fear for her life. She was very upset. Upset because Susan, who was abused by this boy, refused to press charges against the boyfriend. What happened? My daughter was chased with her friend down the cul-de-sac that night with a car on the pavement. She was knocked down and she broke her 2 fingers and bruised her knees. She could not believe that with all what has happened to her, Susan refused to press charges. Susan actually refused to admit she was abused by this boy. This is typical of domestic violence. The victims, most of them are so afraid to report the cases. They are so afraid to even admit they've been abused. They are so afraid to press charges. And cases are getting younger and younger. My daughter is 18, and her friend Susan is 20. You see, domestic violence, also called domestic abuse, battery, or intimate partner violence, is a pattern of controlling and aggressive behavior of one adult towards another in the context of an intimate relationship. It could be physical, emotional, mental, and also financial, with social isolation. It could happen to anyone. It affects every one of us, directly or indirectly. But most people don't know that. Some people see it as something that happens to other people, so it's nothing to do with them. That's not true. A few weeks ago, I was with a group of women, about 7 of us, and this topic came up again, domestic violence. The question was asked, can any woman here honestly say she has not been affected by domestic violence? Only one hand went up. If I were to ask women here right now, how many of you can honestly say you have not been affected by domestic violence? Maybe 1 hand or 2 will go up. Men also suffer domestic violence, but most are women. You see, according to Women's Aid Charity in the UK, 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. And every minute, the police receives a call regarding domestic violence. 2 women every week are killed in the UK from domestic violence. And the case is probably higher in the US. The government was commissioned a research on the cause of domestic violence. And it was found that domestic violence costs the criminal justice system about £1 billion every year, almost a quarter of its budget on violent crimes. It costs the NHS about £1.2 billion every year. The social services, about £250 million every year. The housing authorities, about £160 million a year. The civil legal services, about £300 million per year. And the UK economy, £2.7 billion per year due to time taken off work to recover from injuries. So how can this not affect everybody? Domestic violence, the hidden plague, or as I call it, is a global issue, and we'll all have to tackle it together. You see, if you claim it doesn't affect you, and you go to work, and your colleague who was abused doesn't show up, you have to do their work. And if you're trying to get a good night's sleep, and your neighbor is screaming, how are you going to get that? And it costs on the economy. You see, I keep asking, why do we have rise in domestic violence, and yet so much resources, so much money is being pumped in to tackle this problem? In the US, women who are victims of domestic violence have been given 20 extra days of work to recover from their injuries every year. And the code has been made just to tackle domestic violence. Probably we'll soon have that over here in the UK. How can you help them if it doesn't affect you directly? Show your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, your relatives, or anybody you know who's suffering. Tell them you're concerned. And tell them you're here to help them without judging them, however you can help them. In an emergency, call 999. Report to the police. Don't be silent. For more information on how you can help, click on the link below this video to get more information on how you can help as a friend, a neighbor, an employer, service provider, etc. What I recommend to tackle this crime, I believe that the root cause has not been dealt with directly. I recommend that children, girls, as young as 12, have to be trained on self-esteem, because it was found that victims of domestic violence have very low self-esteem. So when we train on self-esteem, will help girls, young women, how to conduct themselves, and also self-confidence training, and also what a good, healthy relationship is all about. What about boys? They need self-esteem training as well. So, even as young as 12, so they don't have to feel that they have to abuse someone to have power, to have control over them. They also need training on self-confidence and what a good, healthy relationship is all about. Let us see this as a global issue, the hidden plague, domestic violence, for us all to work together to tackle this problem. For women, I invite you to look at the website on the bottom of this video. For you to download the ebook I have put together, telling you more about domestic violence, how you can help, and how you can stay safe. Stay safe. Thank you.